Hey everybody, it's Coding Clarity here. Sorry if my voice is a bit gone. I've been going through a lot of sickness lately, as a lot of people are during the coronavirus, so I won't talk too much. I just want to talk a little bit about web components specifically and just how they can be very useful in general when you're trying to design a new project or website. So I talked recently in another video about APIs, and I think web components are also very important to bring into play here. So as I have here, what are web components? Web components are a set of web platform APIs that allow you to create new custom, reusable, encapsulated HTML tags to use in websites and web apps. So to make this more clear, it's basically when you create a website, there's a lot of people who have done projects or have databases with a lot of really useful information that you want to then pull into your website. Let's say you're creating a simple website that will take in, um, somebody will give you a movie that they love to watch, for example, and they'll talk about all of the um, genres or movie or a couple movies that they love, and then you want to give them a selection of movies to recommend, rather than to pull all of the websites that have a bunch of movies, and then to pull all of the websites that have a bunch of genre recommendations. You could take in a movie or two, then you could use that information to pull from other websites a list of movies that are very similar. Um, and then you could take that couple list of movies, bring it back to your website, and just instantly display them. Then let's say they click on a certain movie. You could then take that information, take it to another website that has a bunch of movies that can be found, and then I could display a short paragraph or so about that movie and send it back, and then you could display that on your website. That is way easier than having your website do all of that. So I think it's really important, web components, APIs, etc., because nobody wants to do all the work that's already been done already. What's the purpose? If somebody has a website that has a bunch of movies and somebody has a website that can take in a movie and give you a description, why do you need to do all of that? No, you shouldn't. So I think it's really useful. So how do you use a web component? That's really important. It's pretty easy too. So here is a really useful way. So you have a script type, and you basically just take the JavaScript or whatever, in this case it's a JavaScript file, but you take the link to it, and then you basically are just, oh, I'm so sorry. You're basically just taking all of that and you're having it just put in here into a class, and you're right there. So the components of the site provide new HTML elements that you can use to your website or webpage. Using a custom element is as simple as importing it and using the new tags in HTML document. For example, to use the paper button element, and then there's this 2 lines. And then they also have an example of how you'd install something if you need to install it as well. Webcomponents.org is a great resource. I also have CSStricks.com, and they have a really good introduction to web components. They do a lot of the similar things. They talk about how it consists of 3 different technologies, here, and here. And they go into detail about how to use those 3. If you like these websites and you want to look into more of the parts and how you really go into using web components, I will also be putting those in the description of this YouTube video. I also wanted to talk a bit, I know it's not really the main topic of this whole section and such, but if anyone is going through a tough time during this point, in the world, happy news, one of my favorite resources is being relaunched. And if you're really going through just anything right now that's not been great, as a lot of people are going through stuff right now, I think it's important to stick to happy news. I'll give you an example. This is really old, but basically what this website does is it pulls happy news that's going on in the world. This link is a bad example because it's 2013, but basically what it does is if you're going through tough times and you need something to really motivate you, there's a resource for that, and it's called Happy News. And sadly, this link, today's top story, I can't seem to click anywhere. I've tried for a while. But they're being relaunched as of March 24th, which as of this video comes out is 5 days ago. And I think it's important that we stick to happy news and stay positive despite what's going on in the world. So I just want to throw that in here. Of course, this video is specifically about web components and such, but happynews.com is there for you if the world's a bit upsetting right now for me as well. So yeah, I just wanted to talk about a little bit web components and how they work. If you know HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and you're really wanting to use resources that you don't want to really write, but you want to be able to pull into your website and utilize in some way, web components is a great resource to look into. There are a ton of websites that can go into it. The two that I'll put in the description are ones that I like just because they kind of go into, not right into the coding aspects and like the really deep technical aspects of how it works, but more, hey, you are trying to build a website and you know HTML, CSS, JavaScript. Well, here, let me introduce to you web components and how to use them, which I think is really important because a lot of websites that if you look into, assume you know all these super technical things that, I'll be honest, I don't even know. So yeah, I love these two resources that I'm going to include because they go to the very specific and then build up rather than assume the user has a pretty in-depth knowledge of a bunch of things and then is going to use that to build an insane website. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. This is Coding Clarity. I love you all, and yeah, have a good rest of your week and stay safe.